All right, everyone. Interesting link in the description, archived, of course, with this one. There's a report actually out. Now, this one deals with cinnamon. I know that a lot of people really like cinnamon, and this is the time of year that, people in the northern hemisphere, they're making their apple pies, and they're making their pecan pies and stuff like that. So there's a lot of cinnamon in use. And apparently about a third of it is tainted with lead. I have a feeling that I know where that lead is coming from. It's coming from China. The problem is that a lot of the herbs and spices that you use, probably in your kitchen, are not coming from the United States. They're coming from areas that are heavily polluted. So China, India, places like that. If you get curry, it's almost certainly from India, or at least the subcontinental region. Not that there's anything wrong with curry. Trust me, I'm a fan. Here's my suggestion. I've got one little herb garden out back at Chisana Drive. It's, I think, like 3 feet by 4 feet or something like that. It's just a little Viking garden. It does have a good soil stratum. It's got biochar in it. It's extremely tilthy. It's basically the perfect soil that you could possibly ask for. But you do not need a lot of herbaceous plants in order to supply yourself. If you know what you're doing and you know how to dry the herbs and you have, jars on hand and stuff like that and a desiccant of some sort, then you can pretty much supply yourself forever. And it costs like, the amount of herbs and spices that we've already dried between here and Chisana is probably worth like $500. It costs like maybe $20 to actually set up the entire thing. It really is the cheapest thing that you can grow, and there's no reason for anyone to import any form of herbs and spices. I would love to grow tarragon, for example. You dry that, and you only need a little bit of it. Trust me, when next time you're sauteing onions, put just a dash of dried tarragon in them. You'll thank me later. Make sure to use butter, by the way, not an oil. It will smell delicious, and it will improve your life. It's a good thing. But gardening is a good idea. When we see reports such as this, where you've got contaminants in a lot of the food, and this is just about cinnamon. So this doesn't extend to even all like herbs and spices. I guarantee you the same contaminants, if you're importing it from China, would be in oregano, basil, thyme, sage, parsley, pretty much everything under the sun. Now that's just the herbs. What about the vegetables? Well, a lot of those are imported too. They shouldn't be because we have the ability to grow pretty much all of them on our own. Thankfully, a lot of the vegetables in the United States, especially potatoes and things like that, the starchy ones, carrots, those are grown domestically. They're going to be less contaminated. They'll still have some microplastics in them, but probably not a huge amount of lead. But a lot of the herbs and spices, and teas, by the way, they're imported from Asia. And the problem is that Asia is filled with coal-fired power plants. It's filled with a bunch of insanity. And so, yeah, things get a little bit on the contaminated side. That's the truth of it. What you need to do is, therefore, you only need one little small plot, like not even probably as big as the table in front of me, not even as big as this couch. You can grow your own herbs and spices. For instance, you put in one coriander plant. Do you realize how many seeds it'll produce? God, and your taco night's definitely going to be lit. Just get a grinder, a mortar and pestle, grow your fucking plant, you're good to go. One oregano plant will, you're going to have several jars worth that are preserved. A single parsley plant will produce an enormous amount of material. You don't need to use that many herbs. The thing is, unless you're cooking for 10 people, or you eat constantly, or you just, for some reason, you really, really love herbs, you're not even going to need as much as you get. You're going to be, like the next year, you're going to be growing another plant being like, why am I even bothering? Because, I've still got, 50% of it on hand. That would be the best thing to do. Lead can be a problem. It can stunt the brain development of children. It can cause anemia. It can cause other health problems as well. The best thing to do, therefore, is to grow it on your own property. Maybe you're in suburbia, so you have a housing authority, so you can't really grow it, but otherwise, if you have any property at all, you should. I think that people should form syndicates. Little like, not farming or anything like that, but gardening syndicates. So you've got a community, and one person is really good at growing herbs. Another person's really good at growing cucumbers. Another person, just for some reason, tomatoes fucking love them. And then little old lady next door, she's really good at canning. Form a syndicate. Form a neighborhood group in order to preserve as much as possible. Take an equal share. This is not communism, by the way. This is actually capitalism. Be self-sufficient within your community. That's what I would suggest to people. Because apparently you're getting lead in your cinnamon at this point. That's not necessarily a good thing. You know, lead is generally, people are not expected to consume lead. It's generally considered to be a negative thing. But I guarantee that a lot of this is importation. It's from China, possibly other areas around the general region, and that's what's poisoning the cinnamon supply. Now, this was only like 1 out of 3 of the samples that they took. That's the good news. So there is some cinnamon out there that's actually, you know, useful for eating that won't poison you. And you probably won't die from the amount of lead in the cinnamon that is actually lead tainted. But it's cumulative damage. Every little bit hurts, so to speak. It's just like radiation. Okay, this low level of radiation probably won't give you cancer. But if you're exposed to it over the course of 10 years, eventually, you know, you get fucked up. That's basically the premise. And so you should be growing your own herbs. You should be self-sufficient as much as possible. I know that it's not possible for the average person to do like home farming. Most of them live in an urban area or suburbia or something. You can have literally a container garden on your patio and grow all of your own herbs. It's not that difficult. All you need is a good soil stratum. Trust me, look into biochar. And then you'll have big-ass dill plants and oregano and parsley and basil and everything else. Well, there you go. That's all you need. You use some of it fresh, you dry some of it, you put it in jars basically, and then you keep it, and then you, rinse and repeat. You do the same thing next year. By the way, it smells amazing. It feels fun. It's good. It's also good training for children. They can learn how to grow something and shit like that. That's about all. Peace out.